What's up, y'all? West of the 110 back again. Jog Talk Morning Buzz in the morning, but we here with our pop up, a lot of smoke in the air. And what I mean by that, I mean, there were some wildfires burning in California, fireworks, that kind of smoke. But talking about political stuff, a lot of stuff going on, some unjust shootings that we feel went unjust. So from the West of the 110 studios, they're here tonight with me, my boy, my buddy, my homie from the founder of what of one of the newest drinks coming around, Piggy Ponderosa liquids, Mr. J.
Yes, sir.
Argonati. What's the word, man?
Hey, Murph. Yeah, we got a lot to get into tonight. There's a bunch of bullshit going down, so uh, it's rife for conversation.
It is. And you know what, man? We're gonna jump right into it. And before we go there, like I said, y'all stay tuned and chime in with my boy Jay Argonati here. If y'all into the libation, for the Piggy Ponderosa Brewery. And what was the name of the sweets again?
Oh, the
The desserts.
uh, oh yeah, that's Dot's Boys Desserts. That's my mom, Dorothy Hoffman. Yeah, she taught me everything I know, so I'm making desserts in honor of her.
So y'all be sure to check it out.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
gonna have a I'm gonna have an Insta up soon for both of them.
yeah, so yay, summertime's coming, World Cup is coming. I tell people, especially in California, literally here in California in the next 3 years, any independent grinder can make money. I'm not talking about you got to be selling some shit on the corner like jerseys or whatever. No, I don't care if you got any idea where you know you can sell something, get it out there because you have World Cup that'll start here in a couple weeks, and after that, you got the NFL Super Bowl that'll be back here February 27th. Um, then Olympics 28.
Yeah,
So California, it's a lot of money that's about to come into California, and if you want to get some of it legally, there's a lot of opportunities for you out there coming.
yeah, you got these international travelers coming, and they already have a lot of disposable income if they're coming over here to watch the Olympics or the World Cup. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of cash.
Exactly. And you know what, man? Before we get into what we were going to discuss, like it's funny something that you just said right now. A lot of these people who have the cash to throw around, who are able to come travel for events like
Hmm.
that. Um, what do you think about that, man? Like, I know some people say, "Yeah, man, if I was to ever win this amount of money, man, I'll never do that." But if you had $20 million in your bank account now, talking about scot free, you don't owe anybody, not in debt, you clear 20 million. Um, would you do shit like stuff like pay numerous amounts of dollars for events that you normally wouldn't?
Yeah, it just gives you a freedom to explore. I wouldn't do anything that I wouldn't normally do. I would just do more of what I would normally do. But yeah, I'd catch more shows. Take a couple trips abroad.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, enjoy the things that you couldn't enjoy when you were poor.
Yeah, funny example. Denzel Washington's movie Roman J Esquire, Roman J Israel Esquire,
Oh
um,
yeah.
which was actually a good movie. A lot of people didn't catch up on, but he had a part in there where he, him being an attorney, he can't turn anybody in for reward money.
Right.
And he did it, but he started enjoying some of the money. He got those 100,000 cash that he got from some Armenian guy who looking for the killer of his nephew or something like that. So he stuck to what he normally did. Well, I take that lie back. He sat on the money for a while. Then he decided to go to the beach. He ordered a maple donut with bacon on it or something like that from one of these trucks.
Yeah.
He asked the guy, "You got change for 100?" And he said, "Yeah, I do." And then he just told him, keep the change. It was only like $12 what it came up to. But I say that to
Hmm.
say this, like that example right there is like he stuck with what he know. He got the normal donut, but you gave the dude a fucking, what, $88 tip or something like that.
Oh yeah, I definitely do that. I definitely spread around like the wealth with you know, I know how well because I come from that. I know how hard people work. Know how
Yeah,
hard customer service is. I know how hard service jobs are. So yeah, definitely I'd break people off generous tips whenever I could.
and in today's game in the restaurant industry, yeah, you should. I feel you should tip good service.
Yeah.
I don't feel you should tip bad service. I mean, even though we know how the restaurant game goes, and they don't really get that much money like that, but
Hmm.
that should prompt them to have the most excellent service they should you know have all the time because you need those
I
tips.
like to find out first whether or not they keep their own tips or whether their tips go into to a collection. If they go into a collection, I might not tip as generously because you're there. You got the poor employees working off the benefiting off the backs of the ones that work hard. So I might not tip as much then, but like if I'm tipping an individual, yeah, I
Yeah,
make sure it's as generous as I can anyway.
I tend to piss off waiters that give you bullshit service, especially those waiters who want to take on about 20 tables just by themselves. And you would think some of them be like, oh, it's just, they short that night. No, some of
Hmm.
these waiters is just like that. No, I can handle it. Knowing they can, multitask, but it's like, it's not about that. It's about excellent service. I don't care who you are. You cannot give excellent service as a waiter to more than 5 tables at once.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, you can go back and forth, but when you got like 10, 15 tables you waiting on, no, just hang it. And they be expecting, expect you to tip because they're working a lot. Now, looking around, it's about five. With your head cut off, you just feel like you can do the job, but I'm not tipping somebody who wants to overwork themselves. You know, um, if I'm already coming to the establishment paying for this high ass food for my wife and I, and then what I call a tip, like in their eyes, they looking for you to leave. If you spending more than like I want to say $300, they looking for you to leave $25 to $50 tip.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
That's quite
um,
that's quite a bit. That's pretty
and that's
generous.
quite a bit. I mean, no, I'm not saying that's some shit I'll be leaving, but I'm just saying like, hey, look, I don't give a shit if I spend $500 in here. If tip, I mean, you gonna tell me that's not enough? You know,
Yeah,
like
like
yeah,
you blew that big amount in the check. So yeah.
and it's like damn, the average Joe maybe saves up, maybe saves up for once a month to take his girlfriend or his wife out, or if you go the other route, if you want to take his boyfriend out, man, maybe he saved a nice amount of money. You know what I'm saying to go out that night. That doesn't mean because that's how. And you know what? That's something I wonder if waiters and waitresses do. Do they stereotype on the look of a person off the what they're buying, and you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this dude's ordering all this, so they must have money. Or do they have the common sense to know that, not everybody go out like this. This is once in a month type thing.
I get the feeling like if they see you ordering all this big stuff off the menu, that yeah, you definitely got it to spend, so you definitely got to pay a good tip. So because if you don't got it, you're not going to order it. So or in a lot of cases, if you're going into a high enough end restaurant, the fact that you're stepping in there in the first place, they got just like, oh, okay, we're expecting all these tips from these high clip tips from the people coming in.
Yeah. Also, too, a lot of people got to be cautious of where they're eating at. Some people have gotten so relaxed and comfortable eating out places that they don't pay attention to stuff anymore. They think everything that's regulated goes by the regulation all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, just because that restaurant has a A doesn't mean that they're washing their hands every time they touch or use something. You know what I'm saying?
Well, most of the places I see, um, they get notified when or they somehow know when the inspector is going to come anyway, so they'll clean up that day for the inspection, and it goes to shit for the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying?
And that gets me. How can you tip off? the restaurant that an inspector is coming, that's basically saying us as the task force, we're gonna tip off the dope dealer that we're gonna raid him in 2 days.
Right.
So you wanna me personally, as somebody who's certified in food and hospitality, I would say if I had the control over like some restaurant chain as an inspector for the cleanliness of it, I wouldn't let them know when I'm coming. Like, I wouldn't. I'd tell them like, okay, you guys can inspect and you could expect inspections between Monday and Friday of this week.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you what day I'm coming to that. And if it's 20 stores, okay, you got a week. So that lets you know that okay, we gotta be up to par. So if they told us this, this Tuesday and it's gonna happen next Monday, that's giving us time to clean it up. We don't know where he's stopping at. So you're gonna have to be on your P's and Q's that whole week.
Yeah.
But I think that falls on management. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, it's the workers; they not cleaning." Yes, because in a restaurant, they're only going to do what they have to do, nothing more, nothing less. The stuff that
Your signal just dropped out, Murph. I don't know if that's you or me.
yeah, you got me.
Okay, got you now.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that when it comes to cleanliness in a restaurant, I believe it falls on management, supervision, who's ever in there, because I mean, you got to set aside somebody to clean something.
Yeah.
It ain't just about flipping. If you got 17 people working behind, the burger stand, and it's a big burger stand where they all have space, but are you gonna have 17 people on the grill? No, you only gonna have a couple. And if you here doing that, you better have two cleaning. Somebody needs to be wiping tables, somebody needs to be in the parking lot picking up trash, some shit like that.
Well, now, managers and stuff, they always want to pinch pennies and stuff, so they can try to get by with as few people as they can and cut corners whenever they can too.
So they can get that extra money in their pockets.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and it's not going to go to the employees.
And while we speaking of like managers and money and shit, like the young kid that was killed, Cyrus, the Cyrus young guy, by
Right.
the Chinese store owner, or I ain't gonna say Chinese, the Asian store owner. I can't remember what state it was in or his name exactly, but from the video showing that his store has been robbed, looted, and destroyed. It
Oh
hasn't
yeah.
been burnt down from what I know of, but I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, he was basically the kid. I don't know the full story of it. You know what I'm saying? Because it just strikes me hard to believe that this man was able to kill somebody because he thought he was stealing, and what he was stealing was nothing more than a
A thing
bottle
of
of
water.
water.
Yeah. Well, the
So
story here's the story as
yeah, go
I
ahead.
have I know about it. So yeah, you saw the part where he goes into the store. So like the series of events goes, he comes into the store. The store owner, I think it's his wife, behind the counter, tells him to leave his backpack by the door. So we're starting off with them being suspicious, like in the first place. So he goes to the refrigerator, checks out some drinks, grabs some water, and puts it back. But growing up black in America, uh, the store, I think the husband is already, behind him, following him, checking him out as they do. And so when he gets ready to go, they confront him and they say, "Hey, you're stealing this water and stuff." So he, you know, does his hoodie. He's got the hoodie with the hand thing in the front, right, where you put your hands in the front. So he's like indicating, it's like, "Hey, I don't have nothing. I don't have nothing."
Yeah,
So he leaves, um, and basically runs out of the store. All three of the store owners, the wife, the son, and the husband, go chasing after this dude outside. This is not even in the store that he got shot. I heard they ran basically the equivalent of a football field and a half chasing this boy down and shot him in the back while they were chasing him down. They all left the store with like somebody still in the store. They were so concerned about somebody stealing stuff, but all three of them left the store and gunned this guy down. So not only did they shoot him in the back, they chased him down. This kid is like scared. Like as far as he knows, like he doesn't know what's going on because he didn't steal
Yeah.
anything. He knows he didn't steal anything. And from what I see on the camera, it looks like the lady had to have seen that he didn't take anything.
Yeah.
So that's the story as I know it.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, a football field and a half, Murph. Now, a professional football player would have trouble doing a football field and a half. They chased this kid down that far.
They had the intentions of killing. I thought it was something against shooting people in the back running away.
Mm-hmm. Well, the story was they thought he had a gun, and
Wow.
they were fearing for their lives. Just like the cops say. I have heard that they didn't find a gun, and I heard that they found one near him. So I'm not sure about that particular part of the story. Um, I've heard a bunch of stories saying that he was carrying it, but he didn't brandish it, so they couldn't really use that as an excuse to, you know, fire at him, especially when in the back.
Yeah, even if they assume he had a weapon, if you got video evidence of him not brandishing and showing a weapon, you can
Yeah.
say, well, you didn't see it. You just assume, and maybe you assume right,
Hmm.
knowing you didn't see it, that still doesn't give you a reason to do that. You
And
know?
and and just the fact, stealing a bottle of water isn't a death penalty offense. It's not an executable offense in no sense. You know what I'm saying?
At all. So that's what's getting me. That whatever, judicial system in that state, looked over, presided over that case. Did they miss something?
Well, I don't even I haven't found out about the makeup of the jury yet, but another person who I was listening to who was talking about the jury trial was or the trial was the defense didn't give they only charged the guy with murder and nothing else. So like even if they couldn't go after him on murder, usually they'll say like, endangerment or manslaughter or something like that. That way, if they don't get murder, they can go to a different defense. Like the jury could come up with say, okay, well, this may not be murder, but okay, we can say it's manslaughter. The defense didn't give those options to the prosecution, so it was kind of an all or nothing thing. So that kind of pinned the jury in as to what they're able to you know
Yeah,
rule on.
that's
But no,
crazy,
I mean,
man.
I can't imagine what how poorly the defense had to be to not be able to get you know or to have this man get an acquittal for shooting somebody in the back after chasing them down that far
That far.
when he didn't steal anything. He didn't steal anything.
And that's the
So
thing.
yeah.
He didn't steal anything, and you know, it was years ago. But when I did work in retail, I worked at Toys R Us. This was years ago.
Oh, you worked at Toys R Us, Murph? I worked at Toys R Us.
Yeah, it was years ago. I think I want to say like 2003 or four.
Okay.
Um, it's not there anymore. It was in Lancaster. If for anybody who lived out there and remember the Toys R Us, it was next to the hometown buffet and the Babies R Us on Avenue K and 15 West. um, but once somebody leaves out the store, you have no liability to say anything to them at all because they're basically now they're in the public and you need a officer to get them.
Right. You
Even
gotta
if,
you gotta get a description and do
Mhm.
all that stuff. You can't chase them down. You can't tackle them. Nothing like that. Even security, you're not supposed to go after
You're right. Security guards aren't supposed to chase anybody out of a store. So that family chasing that young man down, they said equivalent to almost 2 football fields in length.
them.
Like, and then unalive him in the back like that. Come on, man. Like I say, even like they said they thought he had a gun. He didn't brandish a weapon. Um, You don't see any videos. If he had a weapon pulled out, that would have been on every video on social media, and I'm gonna say by every person who don't like people that look like that young man
Hmm.
would have had that video up of him. See, he had a gun.
Yeah, none of the witnesses said he had a gun. None of them.
None of them. And it's getting to the point where I do want to say this, like in America, people who you got some people say they're woke, or people talking about, oh, these people are wake or waking up or are woke now. But the definition of woke means more than, like, especially in the black community. The definition of woke in the black community to some is like, oh, I know about my history and know about the truth and all this. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's not being woke fully. That's just some shit you need to know.
Yeah.
Being woke is reality. Being woke is knowing that, like, this shit is stupid. This gang banging and racism shit.
Hmm.
That's two things that can stop racism and gangs. You know, um, those are. I mean, not saying those are only two things that needs to stop, but those are two things that could stop, like, immediately. That will see a drastic change in America for the better if, like, gangs were eliminated, racism,
Hmm.
was out of here. Then, of course, get rid of drugs. Um, don't get me wrong. You got a lot of natural stuff that people don't realize, that, like, marijuana's from the earth. Cocaine comes from a leaf.
Hmm.
Um, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't heroin come from a leaf or something like that?
Yeah, the poppy seed.
Poppy seed, yeah. So these are three popular drugs that have been around for what they say, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of
Hundreds,
years.
thousands of years. Yeah.
Man, something that
Millions and billions of years.
real talk. So, like I say, not encouraging that, but you got some stuff out there that you know a lot of people utilized in ways to connect to a different realm, but they didn't use it to connect like some of these guys are doing. They doing it so much they look like a fucking V standing up.
That's right.
Like, real shit. I mean, I remember working down at the train station a couple years ago, and getting off in the morning, overnight, while you catching all the people who getting on the train, getting ready to go to work. So you end up meeting a lot of people. You end up seeing and spark up conversations. And they had this one gentleman. I didn't know his name. We speak often in the morning, but I didn't
Hmm.
never catch his name. And
Hmm.
he was an older white gentleman, and the conversations we had, he said, yeah, man, I used to be hanging out in these train stations, high and shit back in the day. And he was standing sort of slumped over, but he said, yeah, man, I'm worked out, got myself in shape. He said, I'm trying to fix this problem. He's talking about the standing problem.
Hmm.
He wasn't at a V, but he was looking more, like a Pac-Man, the mouth of a Pac-Man. um and I said to myself, damn, man, I'm just saying in my head, I said, I'm gonna ask him this question. He might get mad, but I didn't care. And he said, I said, man, I'm just curious, man. When it's time for you to take a shit, man, like, is that a difficult thing to do? I said, because I said, if you sitting on your ass and the way you standing, it's like your legs would be sort of at a 63-degree angle from when you sitting. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
and he even had to laugh himself. He said, "Hey, man, I had that issue when I was, it's been a few times where I, just had to just fall sideways and shit on the
Hmm.
ground when I was on that stuff." And I'm like, yeah, man, that's crazy. But a lot of them drugs were like Trank and the blue pill that was a Crave in Arizona area. It was a synthetic fentanyl pill, from what I was
Yeah.
informed of about it on my buddy's show, Tweaker Hunters.
Tweaker hunters. Okay.
Um, if you haven't seen that, check that out, Tweaker Hunters. He had a funny clip on there. We ran into this one guy. I can't remember his name, so I'm gonna just say Bobby. He said, "We're here with Bobby. Bobby just got out of Maricopa County. Isn't that right, Bobby? He said, yeah, yeah. And he said, yeah, we were talking and just telling me your story about how I was in jail. He said, he just starts telling, no, man, Maricopa County Hospital. I wasn't in jail.
Damn.
Oh man, he was like, "Do I still keep the $20 for the interview?" Yeah, man. But you know what, man? It's kind of crazy. I've seen a lot of people online express their feelings about the situation that happened. Again, back to the shooting, and
Yeah, yeah.
you got to watch what you say nowadays. You can't be on the internet saying, "Oh, people should do this, stop this." Some shit really happened. They're gonna go back and say, "Oh, this person who enticed
Hey,
these
you're
people."
inciting and stuff. Yeah.
You could be somebody with 3 followers on social media, and if some shit happened to the T of exactly what you said, you might be in some trouble.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you remember back in during COVID, uh, Trump was calling it the China plague or something like that, and they passed this Asian hate crime bill to where, if you just had some unkind words, you could get charged up for a hate crime. For this was for Asians specifically. And they ask. That's like I said. Whenever they ask for something specifically for Black people, oh, we can't do it. But like Asians get uh, minorly inconvenienced, and they get a whole hate crime bill, hotline people could call, uh, money to keep their businesses open during COVID, all this stuff. But
Yeah,
then you still got, so you had this guy. You remember Latasha Harlins? Everybody draws comparison between this and Latasha Harlins because
yeah,
it's an easy comparison. Like she got away, she shot that girl in the back for like again not stealing anything. Um, there was a cop named Peter Liang who was beating up Black people. There's just there's this one guy in New York. He killed a man called Akai Gurley. I think that was Peter Liang. Okay, yeah. So you got like all these Asians committing, these crimes against Black Americans. You got Asian store owners beating up Black women, and we're expected to treat these people like a model minority still. And it goes to like this notion that these groups are being brought over here as a buffer class to undermine us, to keep us down. They aren't our allies. They're here to, succeed for themselves, and Black people be damned.
yeah. You're right. You're right about that. And I will say this about the Black community in comparison to a lot of other ethnicities and their communities here in Los Angeles County. Um, they say, oh well, you only hear about crime in the Black and the brown communities, and even like the lower income white communities. But that's just what the media reports. You know,
Exactly.
um, look at that mayor, the Chinese lady mayor who admitted to being the fucking criminal who admitted to being a spy, a Chinese spy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The city of Arcadia, where she was the mayor at, Arcadia got some of the highest crime in LA County, but you don't hear about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But because why? It's not Arcadia is like if I'm not mistaken, and this not even off. You can probably Google this, and I might be right. Arcadia is probably only 3.1 or probably 2.8% Black, if that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to hear about crime in a city that's not predominantly Black or Hispanic.
Yeah. You don't hear about those. You don't hear about the massage parlors and the Asian triad gangs and all this bullshit. Yeah, but you'll hear about Bloods and Crips all the time.
And you see, and when it comes to when you hear the news about stories like that, about these gangs, mobs type stuff, you see, they don't move like gang members. Gang members are letting anybody be affiliated with their gang as long as they'll represent that gang.
Mm-hmm.
But you think about how that person makes their gang look. This person ain't got no money, no car, no job, no nothing. But this he or she is a reputable and will be out there putting on for this set all the time by letting people know what it is and where they at. Yeah, but how's this person been? That's basically like we need 10 people to work the ramp. And we go out and
Mm-hmm.
hire 10 people that's never worked the ramp, and for the last 10 years they've been fucking flipping hamburgers. You know, it's not going to work. You got to watch who you bring in to help your team grow. Whether your team is, a team out for destruction or a team out that's supposed to be doing something legally and legit.
Hmm.
You want to bring somebody in that's going to benefit your team, and that's what's wrong with. That's what gives, I think, a lot of the gangs in LA a bad look, black and Hispanic gangs, because they go around terrorizing. They still try to install fear in the people if you don't go along with how they do, and they do stupid shit, you know what I'm saying, like they do. Even, I mean, I'm not saying gangs, but it's a lot of people who do petty shit nowadays, to the fact where back in the days, if a dude didn't like somebody else, they wait till they meet up and fight, and they fight every time until they got tired of it.
Right.
Nowadays, you got some dudes who do petty shit. They go create a fake social media account and find out who your girlfriend is, or your wife, or your two side bitches you fucking with, and let them all know information about the next one. They do petty shit like that. So
They
it's
keyboard bang. They keyboard banging.
they keyboard banging. You know what I'm saying? Like real shit. Like I've always said this, and maybe you maybe ain't paid attention to that. You hear a lot of people always talk about, especially people from the streets. Man, I don't fuck with snitches. I don't fuck with motherfuckers that talk too much, because they always got something bad. Man, I don't fuck with motherfuckers that talk too much. But it be the same motherfuckers that come to you with news and information that, yeah, I got a reliable source. What you think a fucking reliable source is? A fucking snitch.
Stool pigeon.
You know?
That's
Um,
hilarious.
No, for real, man. Real shit. But also too, man, here in California, man, the political race is still going on, man. It's still back and forth. Right now, the gubernatorial, it's funny, not the governor's race, the gubernatorial race.
Gubernatorial race, yeah.
Um, it's at one moment it's Becerra, the Javier Becerra, then it's Steve Hilton. Those are the two who are back and forth, actually neck and neck. But if I'm not mistaken, who's the third? It was, well, not in this order. You had Hilton. Oh, it was Tom Sawyer. So the top four last time I had checked was Hilton, Becerra, Sawyer, Bianco.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed to say I haven't been keeping up with the governor race at all. I know it's part of my civic duty, but it's just, you know, I feel like it's kind of pointless. you know, it's just going to be more of the same. You're going to get somebody in office, and they're not going to change anything as far as like doing anything about homelessness or you know all these people coming over the border taking up jobs and shit. So
And you know what's so crazy? Something that my buddy was talking about earlier. One of his co-workers, she expressed that she's a Javier Becerra fan, and I'm let anyone know that I'm a voter of his.
yeah.
Um, hey, to each his own. But she's one of them people that, you could be talking, and if you say something about, well, like I like what, Hilton said, or you could say, I like what Trump said, I like what Kamala said. You could just agree with anything. But
Hmm.
if you agree with something that come from a candidate that they don't like, oh man, it's World War III. And that's why I was telling him, see, people like that you gotta stay away from, because they want you to hear everything they have to say from their political view, and want you to believe and look at it from their view, and they don't want to hear what you got to say.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely not. No.
uh, no, you need to. Well, what about this? What about this? But and the first, one thing I do hate is that how a lot of people, especially in the black community, be talking that shit. Especially the ones who still feel that Barack Obama can't do no wrong in black people's eyes. Oh, that's
Oh
my
yeah.
president, Obama. Them. I hate to use this word, like Terry Anderson say, "Rest in peace." I hate to use this word, but
Hmm.
um, them is some ignorant niggas right there. Like those are the definition of ignorant niggas. People with that mentality.
And I I,
Uh,
I I I I fully believe that it's people like that who are the reason we are where we are now. They don't think critically about the people they support, and believe everything the party tells them, and don't want to even listen to people who are critical with genuine criticisms. Like they take everything as bad faith because it's they. It's like this. Like most people treat politics like a team sport. So you can't tell anybody that somebody else's team is better than them. They'll make excuses and like justifications for whatever. It's the same thing with politics. The Democrats are their team. Like you can't say anything bad about their players or anything else. And that's why we get bad candidates year after year that people don't want to vote for. And if you're if you're concerned with that candidate, you have legitimate concerns because of some of their policies. Oh no, it's because you're a Trump supporter. Oh no, it's because you're a Russian bot or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a lot of people contradict themselves. A lot of people put themselves in contradicting situations. Like for instance, one thing that I was speaking to my wife about. I said, you hear about it now in the music and shit. These young kids talking about eating women's ass and shit. Then some of these young, then some of these young rapping women talking about, yeah, I need a nigga that's gonna let me eat his ass. Like, wait, what part of the game is that?
Where did that? When did that become hot?
Yeah, when did ever like for real? Like, to each his own. If that's something that you're into, that's you. But I mean, the way I grew up, shit, we '90s and early 2000s in my era, and I never. Hey, what's up? So we gonna kick it, and she like, yeah, come over. You over there, y'all doing y'all do. She probably, I go down. You in your early 20s, y'all kissing. You probably licking the titties, shit like that. And next, she probably dome you up. And then the dude now they be like, yeah, come on, let me. She like, what are you doing? He bent over, like, yeah, come on, get on back there. You're like, wait a minute, like,
Next thing you know, her thumb is up his ass.
yeah. And what do you say? Looking for flan. But it's just crazy, man. Like I say, does the music influence a lot of people? Yes, it does. If you allow it to influence you, um, remember Rick Ross caught heat for that line in his verse, Molly all in her tequila, and around that time, that's when there was a high rise of date raping going on.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that's why they
Roofies and shit.
say
Yeah.
making putting roofie, you put a mom, just imagine, I don't know anybody who's ever been tricked like that. I've never did no shit like that, but you can imagine you put a prescription drug in some tequila and somebody who doesn't associate with narcotics, that may mess them up a little bit temporarily,
Yeah.
and that is sick. Honestly, sick on both parts. Any man that has to intoxicate a woman to where you don't know what she's doing, so you can sexually have fun with her. Something's wrong with you, man.
I
Uh,
think it's but less about music though than I think the easy access to adult material nowadays influence the music, and so yeah, you could say it influenced the music is the influence, but I just think it's you have it. We used to have to sneak and look at the Playboys and all this kind of stuff, and now you can open up any porn site on your phone and see whatever it is we used to have to try to see. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
We used to have to work hard for the titties. Now the titties are just like a URL away.
And you know what? It's so crazy. I said it's vice versa now. You remember like back in the days, you would see some of your fellows, your partners going, yeah, we, it's Friday afternoon or morning, they at the barbershop getting fresh. Yeah, we going out to the club tonight, and there's some shit going on Saturday. That's why we getting fresh now, so you would see a lot of these dudes go out, get fresh, spend money at the mall and get all the, look, $1 million just to go in the
Mm-hmm.
club to stand around and hope a woman come up to talk to them. Like, bro, it's changed now. Women seem like they doing the same thing. They going out getting dressed tip top. They probably sitting at home amongst each other. It's always one like, oh no, I'm finding me a man tonight. I'm gonna get me a man tonight. Then
Mm-hmm.
they get there. That same one who talking about she finding one tonight. She the one turning everybody away. Uh,
Yep.
every man that want to dance. Nah. You know what it is? Because I don't mean no harm. Not to sound sexist, but from my experience and from what I've seen in Los Angeles County, a lot of women, they want to pick and choose how the relationship goes, how the person is going to love them, and they want to pick how he looks. So
Oh yeah.
That's the delusion. Like I said right now, damn near every woman, 20, even some younger chicks, like 21, I want to say from 21 to probably 50 right now, all want a man that's 6'3", 6'4", look like Chris Brown, and that's
Mm-hmm.
gonna fuck the shit out of them, treat them like a queen, put them all on his social media like they are. Everywhere they go, they kissing and holding hands. That's the la la land relationship women want right now.
Yeah, there's a term for that. It's literally like women want the three sixes, 6 inches, six figures, and 6 feet. You know what I'm saying?
And then that's true. And that's true. Man, a lot of these women ain't got shit to offer. Like they think they do. Like I say, a lot of these women nowadays, they give you I call it the ghetto soul food plate. Say, okay, what does that mean? You ask any woman 25 to 35 right now, not any woman, I want to say maybe about 75% of women who are black, 25 to 35 right now, to go in there and prepare a soul food dinner to feed 8 people. I'm almost certain for the ones who don't know real soul food, they're gonna get in there and make some cornbread. They probably gonna make some collard greens. They're gonna make some chicken wings, and they're gonna make some spaghetti
Yep.
for real, and say that I made some soul food tonight. And what if he got his uncles came in from Mississippi that's 75 and 90. He told, yeah, we finna eat some soul food getting there, man. What the hell is this? They don't even know what spaghetti is. They don't eat it. Is it? I've seen that before. Like for real. Uh, some of the best soul food places down south don't even consist of meat. I mean, the meat that they may have in like the greens, like the turkey neck meat and stuff like that.
Oh
But
yeah.
no meat. You can have the greens with a side of beans or shit. I love the navy beans, the white beans. Um, Side of that cornbread. You may get some butternut squash. Um, and meat at all. Eat all that shit. Be full as hell. Didn't
Well,
even
Dirk, you
need
may
to
know you
do.
may know better than me, because you're more culinary than me. Is spaghetti and catfish a thing in
No,
black families?
no. I mean, honestly, no. Um,
Okay.
because I don't personally know, and I've never, and I can say I've been cooking a long time since a kid.
Yeah.
I've never have I had fish with spaghetti, not solely just fish and spaghetti, but if we were frying chicken wings and fried a few pieces of fish too, maybe ate some fish and chicken and spaghetti, because I was frying it up. But as for dinner that night, we gonna have some catfish or some red snapper with some spaghetti. Nah, never. I've never done that.
Okay. Because I
that's
hear
some.
that's what that is supposed to be a soul food thing. It's like I have never seen that in my family. So maybe it's from another part of the country, but I have never seen that.
Well, you got to realize too, like me, for instance, like my mom and grandma are from Louisiana. So the
Okay.
soul food in Louisiana is not necessarily just all soul food. It consists of French, Indian, African cooking. Well, the soul food is the African, but all the other cuisines from the Creoles, France, Native American
Hmm.
cooking. So you got a whole bunch of different styles. But when you go over to like Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas. Now, Arkansas, I could talk about my dad's from Arkansas. You know,
Hmm.
they soul food is different. When you breakfast is served at 6:37 in the morning every morning. If you get up at 8, you just then missed out. Shit like that. You gotta have your beans, rice. You gotta have some kind of greens. The beans and greens gotta have some kind of meat in it. Back down to Arkansas, it ain't no
Hmm.
turkey necks. It's ham hocks. Throw them ham hocks in there. Uh, but never. If you had matter of fact, if you haven't fish down there, fish down there in Arkansas is not even well, from what I seen from my aunties when they were cooking, that ain't even like part of the main dish. That fish is
Yeah,
just
yeah. I figured not.
it's like, if you put your few pieces of that fish on that bread until the food get done. That's what they tell you.
Yeah.
Like for real, are you hungry? The food almost done. Look, I fried up a few pieces of fish. Put you a piece of that fish on some bread, that hot sauce, and eat that till this food get done.
Hmm.
That was something light that you could wear off quick. Tell you the truth, I mean, for people who really religious and biblical, like That's why, in the Bible it says you're supposed to eat stuff like fish because it'll fill you up and it ain't gonna stick in on you all day like a damn like beef and pork.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people you ain't. I know you're a vegetarian, Grieve. You ain't had a steak in probably then in 30 years.
Well, I've been eating. I've been a pescatarian for a while. I've been eating fish, and I started just recently eating chicken again.
yeah.
And I feel like when I eat fish, I do feel a lot lighter than even when I eat the chicken. So yeah, like that the beef and the pork and stuff, I can see how that would like bring you down a little bit more.
Well, yeah, especially too nowadays because a lot of people don't drink enough water as they think they are.
Yeah, I know 100%. I don't drink enough water.
And well, and it's kind of messed up because either where you at is like that's the benefit. That's the thing I loved about working places like airports and school district because you always got water everywhere. So you keep a
Yeah,
jug, you don't fill it up. Um, that's one thing I really hate about working for a district. You was going to drink with your share of water. I was drinking too much water. I'm like, shit, I'm pissing like 9 times a 8 hour shift. Like shit. Um, but a lot of people not drinking enough water. That's why a lot of people colons be fucked up in the black community. Colon cancer is high for one reason, being that a lot of black men don't they colon they don't get that shit out they bowels.
yeah, because like water, it doesn't just hydrate you; it keeps you regular too. So yeah, you're right.
It keeps you regular, and a lot of these dudes wonder why they ain't shitting like down south. It was them dudes who be drinking that lean, that syrup. That ain't nothing but promethazine and codeine, which is uh some of the chemicals used in the cultivation of I think it's heroin if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So if you're drinking this stuff, one of the side effects they say of drinking that is it constipates you. So you see a lot of cats in Houston that got money and not saying they doing something illegal, but a lot of them cats who got money who you see out there with the double cups drinking syrup with them big bellies, it's because a lot of them ain't shitting.
Right.
Like for real, they not. That's
I hate
they
to
they
laugh, but yeah, that's pretty much the way it. Yeah.
like, and you could tell the ones like, all right, for instance, you might see people like Rigo when we worked at Sky West. Like
Yeah,
like
that's right.
he was heavy set, but it was kind of flabby as loose. You could tell that's from eating. He just got fat.
Mm-hmm.
But when you some dudes that be big and fat, they stomachs, be like one cat we played football with. This motherfucker had a pot belly, like he was a pot belly pig. But when you hit him, his stomach was hard as hell. You see what I'm saying?
My uncle's
That
gut was like that. Yeah.
and that's that. Your stomach really not supposed to be like that. Tell you the truth,
Right.
that's a lot of backed up gas and bloating and shit. Um, Hell, the average person, the average male, shit one good time a week. Some of them older dudes now, they might take a mean ass shit once a week and justify it. Oh man, I took, it's Friday. Oh man, I took my shit. I took this shit Monday. Yeah, I'm good. I took it Monday. A nice long one Monday. Yeah, but
Oh my God,
you've
no.
been you've been eating, left and right since then. Well, see, a lot of people don't realize it because they don't have water in their system.
Yeah, or
They
fiber
got
too.
or fiber. And that's why I tell a lot of people too, if you want to keep fiber in your system, make a pot of beans. At least 2 days out the week. Make sure you eat at least one bowl of beans. You know?
That's
That
one thing I learned when being a vegetarian, and even when I was a vegan. The more you have to keep a lot of fiber in your diet to keep regular. So yeah, definitely.
you do. And the average
And it's
person
more important
nowadays
for
ain't.
it's more important for meat eaters because like protein, like you said, it gets caught in your colon. Protein is like stuck there.
You're right. You're right. A lot of people don't realize that stuff, man. All the stuff that they need to know as far as their own health is in a book, probably sitting at the library a couple blocks from where they live at.
Hmm.
And a lot of people say, oh, government shouldn't take out some books. They shouldn't destroy these books. The motherfuckers been sitting there at the library for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and none of y'all never read them. And now they want to get rid of certain books. which don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they should get rid of the books, is which I
Yeah.
feel is bullshit. Don't get rid of books at all. You need books.
One
But
book that I got when I started, um, it was a book by it's the book that the Muslims read.
the Quran?
No, it's they have a book on how to eat healthy, and it's called like this is the go-to book for everybody who wants to get their diet together. Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
What's so sad is though, a lot of people don't even really know what the hell they want in life.
Let's see, the Nation of Islam, How to Eat to Live, and I guess Honorable Elijah Muhammad came up with that with the stuff in it. But yeah, it's a guidebook on how to eat, healthy, just a basic, guide for living healthy.
Yeah,
Because those cats are like slinging bean pies on the street in a three-piece suit every day, and you don't see them breaking a sweat.
that is true.
They
Damn,
they suited and booted every day in the summer too, slinging them bean
damn.
pies and the Final Call newspaper.
I didn't think about that shit at all till you just said that. That is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. I ain't never seen not one of them sitting there sweating. Damn.
Uh-huh. See, they know what's up.
You know what's crazy too? I was playing with my store owner down the street. His mind. I was playing with his mind with this question I have for him. I said, "You being a store owner, if I'm sitting in a car and my 17-year-old tell him to go in the store and get me with my normal, and he walks up to you with two non-alcoholic beers, would you sell it to him?"
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me. He was just like, no, because it's paraphernalia. I'm like, paraphernalia? I'm like, look, bro, it's non-alcoholic. The rules and regulations are based for alcoholic.
Right.
But he was like, you know what? I'm going to think about that, man, because now you got my mind messed up. I said, and I say that to say this: hell, if tobacco companies already promote certain things that entice younger kids, shit, why not Heineken that has non-alcoholic beer? Yeah, we think about your people health. Why don't they sponsor somebody's high school prom party? Hey, it's non-alcoholic.
Yeah. And that's like, exactly. It's like so that's how you start off with candy cigarettes. Remember candy cigarettes back in the day? It's like,
It's
oh,
some
I'm cool because I'm smoking cigarettes. It's a candy cigarette. It's
because
like,
it
oh, it's
has
cool to
smoke.
smoke, so that's where you're gonna go. Yeah. But
Yep.
it's easier today because like vaping, even though it's just as dangerous, it doesn't seem as bad because it's not as ugly. Smoking a cigarette is ugly and it stinks. A vape is like steam and it smells good. You know what I'm saying? If you're downwind of somebody vaping, it's just like smelling cotton candy or something. But like if somebody's like lit up and smoking and they blow that in your face, you'd have a problem with them. But yeah, that's how they're getting them now. It's the vape, and with all the same candy flavors and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, man, but we see how a lot of this stuff is gonna get affected by who's ever running, this state come November.
Mm-hmm.
Um, will a lot of the stuff that's going on, some people may say, how does any of this have to do with politics? I mean, you got to pay attention because a lot of decisions that are made by politicians in the state have a lot to do with what you got going on, whether you think it does or don't, do or
A lot
don't.
more than the president.
Man, man,
You know.
and, so that's one thing I wish a lot of my black folks would stop doing is trying to sit around and dig up the most evidence they could find, talking about via social media, just to present to people, just to tell us that, oh, I know, I told y'all Trump was racist.
Mm-hmm.
So you spent your whole time try to get hardcore evidence to show that a
On something we
man,
already know.
yeah, like some, to show us something we already know. like snap back into reality.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, you have something else you want to bring up, man? Like I say, there's a lot of smoke in the air. We just getting stuff off the chest, like you say. Rest in peace, to little Cyrus. The political race is still ongoing. I can't remember the name of the candidate in Iowa that I think unseated a Republican.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of stuff going on in the news right now, especially with the war stuff. They supposed to have a ceasefire, but look like Iran and USA are still
Oh
sending
yeah, well,
shots.
that's on again and off again. Like they keep saying, oh, we're having a ceasefire, and then they started bombing again. So yeah.
Yeah,
Let me see.
I don't know. I don't know how. I'm lost, man, because one minute you hear President Trump, well, not well, either from him or some people in his cabinet giving a speech saying we're almost certain the Strait of Hormuz will be open within 24 hours, and then next thing you know, they're sending shots at each other. Now
Yeah,
Iran telling people that we got the strait closed. So I don't know what they're talking about. You
yeah.
know,
That's another thing. That's another example of how easy it is for the mainstream media to like control a narrative. They're if you listen to mainstream media, you think Iran is like losing and stuff, but if you find independent sources and independent analysis, you can see like their analysis of the situation is Iran has enough missiles to last them for quite a while, and America has been sending its hardware all over the world like the last couple of years, so we don't have all that many weapons left because we've been sending them to Ukraine, Israel, and all these other places, so we're running low, and Israel's running low, but Iran's been making missiles as long as you can remember, so they got
yeah.
plenty to spare. You know what I'm saying?
So what do you think? You think? I mean, of course, stuff does get depleted, but it don't look like Iran's missile supply going to be depleted anytime soon, comparison to the countries, America and a few others. So, if you were the president now, do you tell your commander in chief, give him the order to keep bombing, or what?
No, I'm smarter than these guys. I wouldn't. Iran is a losing situation. Like America hasn't won a war since World War II, uh, and there's no way we can afford to keep this up. I would say hey Israel, you guys step up. Your army is supposed to be this big and bad military force, like the most awesome fighting force in the Middle East. Why don't you guys take care of it? But don't get us involved in this shit.
Yeah. Um. Well, like you say, a lot of people they feel the Iron Dome is very strong. I don't know what you think about that.
The Iron Dome has already failed. That's why Israel is getting pelted with all these weapons in the first place. Iran came up with a way to thwart it like early in the war. They sent out all these drones as a distraction while all the real missiles were hitting their targets. And like again, like that's the thing. Like they only have a finite supply of interceptor missiles to shoot them down. So they have to be resupplied from somewhere. I think if Iran wanted to, they could take out Tel Aviv if they really if that was really what they wanted to do. They don't need a nuclear weapon to do that. And that's another thing. That the whole nuclear weapon is bullshit too. So that
Yeah.
was just an excuse. Like Netanyahu said, Iran's been close to a nuclear missile. Like he's been saying Iran is 3 months from a nuclear missile for the last 20 years.
So that means they could have multiple if they had any.
No, they never had any.
Yeah.
According to their own admission, they had no nuclear weapon aspirations. But I'm like, maybe they should have because if they did possibly have a nuke, you think we'd be over there right now trying to bomb them out of existence? No.
Yeah.
Israel has nukes but won't admit to them. So why can't Iran have nukes and not admit to them? Israel is the only country, only nuclear quote unquote country not to be a signatory of the non-proliferation treaty. So basically, they can make as many nukes as they want to without any oversight.
Yeah. I wonder. I wonder how much is that costing for them to keep trying to make those missiles.
Billions, billions. It's got to be billions.
What Terry
But
Anderson
yeah,
said, unbelievable.
oh, that's what the Carmelo Anthony case is going on. The kid who stabbed
Oh yeah, the stab, yeah.
the white kid in I forget what state it was.
What you think
But
about
yeah, that
that?
I think that's crazy. I think the fact that they haven't released any video of the situation is kind of suspicious. I think it kind of bodes well for Carmelo. But yeah, that's really unfortunate. But it's
Yeah,
I mean like that it's a case where someone was bullying a black kid and he fought. He did self defense. It's just like the Asians and all this kind of stuff. People always feel like they can do something to black people and we won't do anything about it. And this guy fucked around and he found out. So it's sad to say because it's a kid, but you know if it had been the other way around, it wouldn't be anywhere near as like public as it
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. You're right about that because a lot of people tend to forget not everything makes the media that
Yeah,
happens
right.
at all. Um, they may even use something you did as advertisement coming
Hmm.
on the news at such and such an hour. They may show a clip of them catching you, but you may not see it on that episode. It's all kind of different shit going on.
And that yeah, they do that with black people. Like whenever black people are the victim of something, they always try to you know dig up something um bad about them. Something like oh look, he's like posing with guns and all this kind of stuff. So what? He was posing with guns. That's not a death sentence. I'm sorry. He could be posed naked with a bunch of like M16s, but that's not worth getting shot over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hell yeah.
And that was they couldn't find a lot of stuff in the Carmelo Anthony case, but because he was a good kid, like he was a star athlete. He was he got good grades and all this stuff. Like there's nothing they could find on him to like smear him.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
That's how shit is, man. Like I say, shit. Um, it's a lot going on. Like I say, a lot of smoke in the air, as you could tell. A lot of stuff we went over tonight. A lot of stuff we brought to you. Like I say, it's a lot of shit that's still finna happen because summertime is right around the corner. Um,
yeah. And summer heat and alcohol is about to make shit jump off pretty bad up here. You know what I'm saying?
and that's the shit kicker of it. That's one thing people who are born and raised in LA or been living here for so long,
Hmm.
that summertime in LA is the time for not even just the women people may want to see, but you got the crack whore women out here dressing, getting summer ready, and just like the shit you're gonna see in LA is like, oh man, like oh man, like hey, what'd you
Hmm.
say? Um, my uncle Ted had told me this joke one time. He said, "Man, I've seen the nastiest shit I ever seen in my life." He said, "I seen a strawberry I know who ain't washed her ass in 4 days. She took off her edible panties and ate it."
Oh, on that note,
And then he said, "I told her she had to leave when she done."
oh Lord,
Oh man, but like I say, man, we ain't gonna be in here too long, man. You got anything you want to let the people know? Go ahead, man. Get it
that
off your
was it.
chest.
The Carmelo thing. Let's keep an eye on that. Make sure this kid gets justice because they're gonna try to railroad him.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people pay attention to what's going on, not just around you, but shit. Do I encourage a lot of people to do like something I do personally is I'll look at different states news and see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of
Hmm.
information going on in other places. You could utilize it, and it could be beneficial to you. You never know too. You got relatives everywhere. You might see some news that happened in shit Birmingham, Alabama, and be like, damn man, oh wow man, that was my cousins.
Hmm.
So People scour social media all the time and don't be finding no useful shit. What's wrong with watching the news? You hear people say all the time, "I don't watch the news. The news full of bad shit." But look at motherfuckers be watching social media all day.
Mm-hmm. There's
Hell,
plenty of bad shit up there.
some sites, now they letting letting people post damn near like porn.
Isn't that crazy?
Man, I think what was it, a couple years ago when I got a up, you got an update on Facebook. So I hit the update, phone restart and everything. Then I seen the video. It was like just some chick doming up a guy, and I'm like, wait, this on Facebook. I'm like, oh shit, what the hell going on? Like real talk. I'm like, oh man, they finna throw me off here. I hope they know this ain't my video.
Yeah, I think there's some ways to like get around it by saying it's educational or some bullshit like that. Let's because I know you can show titties if you say it's if you say it's a breastfeeding tutorial and like you have a baby doll. Yeah, you can totally do that. Like okay, that's nice.
Yeah. Would you say a tutorial?
Say this is how you breastfeed. Okay. Women ain't got no kids. Okay.
For a tutorial, like I forgot what movie it was, but shit, I can't even think of his name right now. And we all know him too. Italian actor. He was in Showtime with Eddie Murphy. Robert De Niro. All right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Robert De Niro. That dude, man. Well, before I'm gonna say what I gotta say about him, what do you think about Robert De Niro? A lot of mixed feelings about him over the years, all media things, that conversation that he had. But what do you think about Robert De Niro?
As far as professionally, like overall, he's a phenomenal actor. He's like he's been in a bunch of movies that I love. But as far as his like personal stuff, I have no idea.
Yeah,
Doesn't he like black chicks? Doesn't Nero like black chicks?
I think so. I know.
Or is
I
there
know.
somebody else I'm thinking about?
Well, I know Al Bundy has black kids, so
No kidding.
yeah. I mean, he well, not finally, but he showed a picture of his daughter, which she's grown now. She's mixed,
Yeah.
black and white. Um, so I said, damn, it's funny. Now I see why he always been kind of down and cool.
Ed O'Neill, hell yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, definitely, I see it.
And hey, I was watching this old clip, man, of that guy who shows up to all the LAPD and city council meetings and just start
Mhm.
talking shit. And you know, he brought up that cop, the former police officer Gabriel Spadas. I guess he was accused of doing some kind of crazy stuff, but
Mhm.
just the type of stuff that people are saying in meetings now. He said, "What's wrong with you? You guys let him go. He admitted to fisting her and all type of shit." He said this in court. I'm like, wow, man, people be on some crazy shit. And like, and when I heard it, I'm saying to myself, like, what do you get out of it? You know what I'm saying? Like, say,
Mhm.
you must grieve. You're a single guy. You go to a nice spot, meet a young lady, and y'all go to the room, and you slide them
Mhm.
jeans off of her, and next thing you know, and you bend her over, and you start. She like, wait, what are you greasing up your fist for? You just like, just lay there, just lay there. Like, well, come on.
Just trust the process.
Like, what are you gonna get
Right.
out of that
Yeah.
as a man? Like, for real. Like I would be more disgusted to the fact to know that I just put my fist in there and it's touching some shit in there.
Oh, yeah. He's drawing back. He's pulling it back and letting it go. Like, giving her ass a haymaker.
Real thing. You see that shit on the videos, and then the mother be putting a whole bat up a woman's ass, and next thing you know, she bent over here, he come finna slide up in her. He's like, well, you think she's really gonna feel you after you just pulled a bat up out of there? Get out of here. I said these women are good actors because soon as Billy Bob get up in there, he's hitting it like he was hitting Halle Berry. They sitting there. I bet you he was shocked too. I bet you they rehearsed that scene once. She said you only get one rehearsal, and he said, "Oh my God, that's all I need," because he knew what was coming.
Mhm.
That motherfucker, when she said, "I want you to make me feel good," the look on his face like, "I'll make you feel good."
Oh shit.
Oh man, but like I say, man, shit, it's going on midnight, man. We gonna get up out of here. Like I said, a lot of smoke was in the air. We just bought y'all a pop up, man. Shout out to everybody who chimed in for a second. I know it's late, but hey, man, just because you don't have a million views, don't mean you can't give $1 million worth of news. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Um,
right.
but yeah, man, like I say, Jay, appreciate you for stepping on tonight. Man, got to get some rest. It's jog time in the morning.
Yep, we got to do it again.
Hell yeah, man. But like I say, real talk don't end and just take a break, man, and we will see y'all later.
All right, Murph. Talk to you later.
All right, man.